Hello, hello, hello. I think we are good. We are good. We are good. Actually, if you get a chance, throw a one in the chat if you can hear me. We are live today. Once I get a little bit of response, I'll play the intro and then we'll get into it. And today I'm going to be talking about a little bit of what I talked about in a video I posted last year about some of my cybersecurity journey. What did this look like? What were some ideas and considerations? I know that video may have been like maybe 9 or 10 minutes or so. We're gonna get into more of a like an expanded, more of a verbose version of that story, a verbose version of that journey. And I'm gonna start all the way from undergrad, all the way from undergrad. So if you get a chance, throw a one in the chat if you can hear me. Throw a one in the chat. I don't have my phone by me right now, but if you guys can, oh, thank people here already. Absolutely, absolutely. Welcome to a two. Thank you, Zone. Thank you, Zone, and welcome to the chat. Thank you for being here. Maddox, hello, team, and welcome to the chat. I think everybody can hear me. Octavius, people jumping in here. People jumping in here. Octavius, yo, welcome to the chat. And we are gonna get started. Let me go ahead and play the intro video. And here we. Oh, actually, let me do this first. Take that off. And actually, I'm gonna make one thing. Make that my cyber. I'm just gonna make it one word. Bernie. Okay. Let's see. Scroll. Okay. Let's go ahead and start this thing out and let's go. Welcome to Struggle Security, where we are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. Thank you for you all being here. I do my live streams here where I talk about cybersecurity, all things cybersecurity. And really, a lot of this content is tailored for individuals who are newer to the field, people who are transitioning into the field, or people who are just looking to kind of upgrade or refresh some of their cybersecurity knowledge. And today we're going to be talking about some of my cybersecurity journey. Like I mentioned before, I went over a little bit of this in one of my previous videos, actually last year or so. But I'm going to get into a more verbose, a more open and kind of conversational type of way of talking about what my journey was and how it was. But let's go ahead and look at the chat. Josiah, welcome. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for coming through. Wiredog, as always, thank you for coming through. And I think you all should subscribe to Wiredog's channel too. Wiredog, I knew you had a channel. I knew I had subscribed, but a lot of times I don't look at my notifications from my Struggle Security account. So absolutely, if you all are in the chat and you all are seeing Wiredog, feel free to throw your link to your channel in the chat so people can subscribe to you. I heavily recommend it. He's just getting started with his channel and everything, and he's putting up information. His last video was about malware and the development of malwares. He went over an article in there, and it's great content. So if you all are interested in more cybersecurity content, go ahead and subscribe to Wiredog. Thank you for coming through too, man. Salute, game over. Thank you for coming through. Like Josiah said, like, share, and subscribe. Absolutely. Wiredog Gene, welcome. And salute to everybody who is here, man. People are coming in quickly. And it's just so funny because I'm getting kind of addicted to these live streams. Like at first I was kind of live streaming here or there, but you know, as I've been interacting more and more with you all, I get my evenings to myself and everything. It's been pretty cool kind of interacting with you all and kind of talking to you about all this cybersecurity stuff. It's kind of like a shop type of wind down type of thing. So, you know, yeah, Game Over said he said you're getting addicted. Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. Let's get it. Ty, welcome to the chat, man. Thank you for coming through again. And for those who don't know who I am, or if you are new here, my name is Gabriel Barucci. I am a cybersecurity consulting manager for a large technology consulting firm. And I'm just here to kind of give my knowledge, some war stories and information about cybersecurity that can help you in your journey. And today we're going to be talking about a little bit more about my journey, kind of like humble beginnings of where I had started everything. Absolutely. Very interesting. This is Wiredog's link. So take a look at his link there within the chat. Go ahead and subscribe and like and check out his content over there. He also covers information about cybersecurity himself. Just breathe, Gabe. I am breathing. Like, what you mean? What you mean? I'm definitely breathing. I'm excited more than anything else. I'm excited more than anything else. So let's start from the beginning. Okay, let's see. So I did not start off in IT. I did not start off in cybersecurity. I didn't start off in anything as it concerns tech, but I was in STEM, right? So STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. My undergrad was in electrical engineering, and I went to a university called Michigan Technological University. It's a school that is way, way, way up north in Michigan. And for those who don't know where that is, here, let me give you a little, let's see, Michigan map. Let me give you a little perspective of where my school is. I'm gonna blow this up for you all a little bit. Let me get this map up here. They ain't trying to have me buy a map on Google Images. Chill. I'm not buying any maps. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me do this one. How do I just make that big? Open image in new tab. We're gonna take a look at this really quickly. Like I mentioned, I went to a school, northern Michigan, super duper far away from where I was born and raised and grew up. So here, let me maximize this a little bit more and maybe even zoom in some. So I grew up, born and raised here in Detroit, Michigan, which is the bottom right corner, kind of southeast of Michigan. But when I went to school not towards the top of the mitten, is what we called it, not even towards this part. It's here all the way, not even Marquette, man, because Marquette is 2 hours away from the bridge. I went to school here in a school, Michigan Technological University is all the way up here in what you call Houghton, Michigan. Can anybody guess how long it takes to go from Detroit to Houghton? So again, let me go down a little bit here. So Detroit, Michigan, born and raised and grew up in the city, went to high school, middle school, high school, elementary school, all the way here. And I traveled all the way up. You pretty much take 75 north all the way up here. And then you get on whatever this is. This is whatever. And then Hancock, Houghton, Michigan. How far you all think that is? Well, for those who don't know, it's 10 hours. It's a 10-hour drive from all the way the city to pretty much the middle of nowhere in northern Michigan. And there, I went to school, like I mentioned, 6 hours. Nah, Gene, 10 hours, man. 10-hour drive. It was a 10-hour drive from there. So it was a culture shock, right? I'm going for engineering. I'm coming from a city, and I'm pretty much in the middle of woods. And there, it was completely different, right? So I majored, like I mentioned before, I majored in electrical engineering. And here, I got kind of like a little show and tell type of picture thing as I'm going forward. So I got pictures to show you. And this is undergrad Gabe. Let's go. This is me. This is my dorm room. I went to school here at Michigan Tech. This is my dorm room. And that's me, man. That's me. That's very young Gabe. Electrical engineering. And again, I wasn't doing anything in tech. I wasn't doing anything in IT, system administration. I wasn't doing any of that. Mainly, it was like, man, it was calculus. That phrase, don't laugh, man. That's me, man. That's your boy, man. That's me. That's me. Do I look the same? I look the exact same that I like. Don't I look the same as I look here? I think I look the exact same, right? Why are you laughing, man? Calm down. Don't laugh at me. I'm gonna block you, man. Slow down. But yeah, man, absolutely. So Salute Sneaker Junkie. Welcome to the chat. We're going over my cybersecurity journey, how I got in there. And we're starting off from undergrad of university. And Death Racer is laughing at me. But we're gonna have to ban him from the chat because we don't take that type of disrespect here. But no, it's all good. Like that's me. Cut off sleeves and everything. So again, like I said, no system administration, nothing at all. I was doing nothing but kind of calculus 3, digital, digital logic was one of my freshman year classes, physics, chemistry. I wasn't really focused in at all on anything as it concerns cybersecurity, but I was having some of those foundation in math in mathematics. Let me get the next picture ready. While I was in undergrad, here, let me show this one. I was a part of a couple of different organizations. Let me maximize this and show you all this one here. I was a part of one that was called WCE, and it stands for Wireless Communication Enterprise. And these were kind of like undergrad internships to some degree. One thing that we did in the Wireless Communications Enterprise, and there were several of them, we would create different projects utilizing electrical engineering concepts like circuits, like sensors. We would do all types of little projects here and there. And one of the projects that we tried to do, and I mean, it wasn't particularly successful, but we tried to do like a light keyboard where we were trying to utilize lights in order to let's see, like a sensors. How do I describe it? We were trying to get a light to project a keyboard onto like a table. And then what we wanted to do is that we wanted a sensor to be able to detect where our fingers were here, like where our fingers were on the light keyboard, and then it to be able to associate that with a particular letter or a number that's on just like any type of traditional keyboard. So think of this physical keyboard as like a light projection, and then numbers and keys and everything. And then we were trying to make a light keyboard. It was unsuccessful, but we had a good try. We were using our Arduino boards. We were using all types of little sensors, and we just didn't have enough time in order to suss it out like all the way. But it was fun, right? I was still getting those I guess those juices churning in my mind about how to solve problems using technical solutions. So it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Absolutely game over. No disrespect, but look like Gilbert Arenas. Hold up. You say I look like Gilbert. Slow down. Def Rachel game over, man. You're on the block list, man. Y'all about to get blocked, man, because I can't have y'all clown me on my own stream. No, it's all good. Josiah, absolutely. Yeah, welcome, man. Yeah, get the likes up. JM says, it seems like you grew up in a privileged environment. Unfortunately, most minorities are not that lucky. No, I did not grow up in a privileged environment. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. And not for those who don't know about Detroit, Michigan, it's not, we have very good school. Well, we don't have very good school systems to say like the public school system. I went to a public school in Detroit, Michigan, right? The school I went to, you had to test into, but at the same time, it's still a public school. Elementary and middle school, I also went to public schools. I even took the bus to school a lot of times. I mean, I did not grow up in a privileged environment. I grew up in the city. So, but I definitely know what you mean, because most minorities grow up in very similar situations. I think just very early on, I had a strong affinity towards learning. I was that kid in school that had their hand up in the front of the class. Right. I was the one who always had I guess a thirst for learning, especially as it concerns mathematics. So, that was really a lot of the building blocks. It really wasn't the environment that I was in, because if you see people I grew up with, I mean, a lot of them are in prison. A lot of them are not alive anymore. A lot of them are not doing too much of anything. So, yeah, man, it wasn't the best type of situation I grew up in, but I definitely understand your sentiment. And actually, I found out about my university because I was in the marching band in undergrad. Here, let me go back to that picture that y'all clowning me over. Hold on, let me find it. Actually, let me show you all this one. This is another picture. Let me show you all this one, because this is how I found out about my university. Don't clown me. Okay? We can't be, listen, I can't be having y'all clown me like this. Oh, shoot. I'm trying to maximize it. Let me go to this one. I'm sorry. Let me find this one. Let's see. Gabe. Where is that picture? Let's see. Gabe. Where am I at? What is the name of this picture? Let me just download it again. Okay, add to photo library, and let me find the photo. Pardon me while I try to get this thing together, because I do want to show you all how I found out about my school, because I didn't find out about it from any type of program that I was a part of or anything. I was actually in the marching band in high school, and I played a couple of different instruments. And let me see if I can find. Here we go. You all have a treat on your hands. Okay, let me go ahead and show. Dang, I can't keep it maximized. Let me open it and then maximize it. Okay. There it is. There it is here. Okay, hold up. So this is how I found out about my university. I was in the marching band. I was in the marching band. Look at young Gabe. Young Gabe. Look at me. I was in the marching band. And at that time, I was playing saxophone. But our band had a performance that was in the UP in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And we actually played at my future university. So I was playing saxophone, or was I playing tuba? One of those. So I played both in high school. I played saxophone and tuba. And that's me in the middle. And that's how I found out about Michigan Tech. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't go to any type of summer programs. They has all types of summer programs for engineering and all that. But I didn't know anything about it until I traveled there. So, just being a part of programs and things during undergrad or during my high school years, that helped me to get to my university. And I was able to get a scholarship and everything to go there. So it was pretty cool. Okay, let me give you all some more about this. Let's kind of go further. And again, this is like a show and tell. So feel free. Also, one thing that we also do during these live streams is that if you all have questions or concerns, feel free to throw them in the chat. We'll try to address them more towards the end of the chat or the end of the stream. But we definitely want to address all of your cybersecurity questions. And right now, we're just going over a little bit of my story. So right now, we're at me starting off, finding out about my university, going to college and undergrad, majoring in electrical engineering, not really into IT or anything, not into system administration, networking, cybersecurity. None of that really was in existence. And let's keep on going here. Let's keep on going. Let me find the next one that I want to share. Okay, live. And then let's see. Like I said, I was a part of the wireless communications enterprise. And then also another thing that I did while I was there is that a lot of times I would speak at different events. So I don't know if this one might be blurry because it's super small. I would speak at little events there at school. So that was one thing that really kind of motivated me to share. One thing that kind of motivated me to share, at least now, sharing a lot of my knowledge about cybersecurity. And I think that a lot of this early type of speaking at different events. Yeah, that's young Gabe. That's young Gabe right there. That really helped me to be able to even do these live streams that I'm doing now, or even in my consulting career, right? Being able to explain ideas, explain things off the top of my head. I mean, I think that really has helped in what I'm doing right now in consulting. So I definitely appreciate you all. Akin said, Struggle Family, welcome, Akin. For sure. Computer Geek, welcome. Didn't know you had a channel. Absolutely. You just subbed. Thank you for subbing, man. I definitely appreciate that. Thanks for coming through too. Right now, we're talking about my cybersecurity journey, and we're still early in the process. We're still talking about what my genesis story or how I came to be, right? So in undergrad, electrical engineering, I'm speaking about how I used to speak and being a part of like the wireless communication enterprise. I was a part of other organizations too, like NSBE, that stands for National Society of Black Engineers. I actually held a regional role while I was in NSBE for Reason 4. I was the academic excellence chair. So a lot there. So I was, as I would say, I was just involved in a lot of programs, a lot of activities. And my undergrad was electrical engineering. Fast forward to when I graduated. I jumped into a career as an electrical engineer, and I used to work for an organization called Yazaki. And Yazaki is a tier 1 supplier for Ford Motor Company and all other types of organizations. So this was me, man. Again, listen, I'm taking all jokes today. I'm taking all of the jokes today. Feel free to clown me. This is young Gabe as a young electrical engineer, and Gene to be or not to be. Absolutely. Peace, Gabe. AG, welcome to the chat. You just subbed. Thank you for coming through. Definitely appreciate it. Josiah said, like and share and subscribe. Absolutely. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is young Gabe. This is young Gabe again. This is not even 1 year out of undergrad, right? And you see I'm rocking my electrical engineer or my Michigan Tech alumni shirt here. But then here in my hand, I have a wire harness. And that was exactly what I did. I was a wire harness design engineer, right? A wire harness design engineer. And that means that I was responsible for the electrical distribution components, like wire harnesses, within different vehicles, right? So it would be a team of us, maybe a team of 4 or 5 individuals, and we would all divide up the wire harnesses, whether it was the body harness, whether it was the chassis, whether it was the body harness, which is typically the largest one within the vehicle for all of the infotainment system. All of this stuff was extremely important as it concerns the electrical distribution in vehicles. So this is when I was working back then, again, fresh out of undergrad, still not doing anything in cybersecurity. I was still not doing anything in cybersecurity, nothing in tech. And one thing that we would do is that we would design up there in Michigan, where I was working, and then I would travel down to Mexico in order to make sure that what I was designing and what the team was designing is what we were manufacturing down in the plants. So it was a pretty cool gig. I got a chance to go to many parts of Mexico. This was in the early 2000s or so. Again, still no tech, no IT, no networking, no nothing, right? Go Defrez. He's about to get blocked. He's about to get 15 pounds. Like, hey, listen, we get larger as we grow. So, it's natural. I'm comfortable. So, this is young Gabe. Let's see where we want to go next. And if you guys have any questions or concerns as I'm going through some of this material, feel free to throw it there in the chat. Okay. So another thing that I was noticing, and let's talk about the transition period, right? Let's talk about the transition period here. So I was transitioning from that environment. So I was there for probably like a year and a half or so. And one thing that I was learning is that what I was doing was the same thing people 10 or 15 years my senior were doing. My job responsibilities, if I had stayed at that organization, would not have changed. I wasn't really going to get any type of training. I wasn't really going to be progressing. I might have progressed to maybe a senior wire harness design engineer, but that would have probably been my ceiling for the most part for several years. I mean, my boss, he wasn't anything but, I don't know, like 40 or something, 42. So he was very kind of early in his career. So I would have to, I don't know, somehow progress past him. It was a small niche type of group, and I didn't really see a lot of growth within that role. So again, not too long out of undergrad, I'm like, I need to switch up. I need to switch things up where I'm learning and growing. And one thing that happens is that utility organizations, many times, they bring in undergrads, right, that major in electrical, mechanical, civil engineering. And those individuals are brought into like plant environments and all different types of utility organizations. And I was working for an organization called DTE Energy, Detroit Edison, and it's our local utility here in Detroit, Michigan. And they have an asset called a nuclear plant. They own nuclear plants. And here, let me, again, like I said, we have a little show and tell. I have one of my early drawings. And here, actually, let me hold this off for me showing a couple of more videos. Let's see. Young Black Tesla. Man, listen. Trying. What up? Black Dub, welcome to the chat, man. Just so happy. Yeah, man. I'm always happy, man. I'm always a happy dude, man. I'm still happy. It's the same. I'm the same exact guy I used to be, man. I'm the same exact guy. So, I was working, again, like I mentioned, in the plant life. We here. Welcome, She. You're welcome through. We are talking about my cybersecurity journey. We still early in the process. I went through undergrad, majoring in electrical engineering, graduated, started working for an automotive supplier. But now I'm transitioning into me working for a utility organization. And I was working in the role of like a nuclear instrumentation and control engineer, which is really like just a nuclear engineer for a plant. And I was going through all types of training while I was there. So plant life, it wasn't the same as working in automotive. Let me show you this here. We are transitioning into the next phase of my life. Check out your boy. Okay, let's see. Let me share. Let me know what you all. Listen, it looks different. It was different. I mean, I was going from, designing wire harnesses with software. Sometimes I would go to the automotive plants, but now I'm in a nuclear plant environment. Check out the hard hat, right? Check out the scrubs, right? Check out the PPE with the glasses and everything. Dollar says, yo, it's not funny, bro. Look, it's not funny. That's me. Okay? That's who I was, okay? I was an auto mechanic and had to troubleshoot those harnesses. All right, Ty, listen, those harnesses were extremely, it was so much more technicality to these wire harnesses than what people really think. I mean, there are all types of, there's all types of what you call grommets. I didn't know anything what a grommet was, or like all types of soldering and everything. So as you were troubleshooting those harnesses, man, we were creating them. So pretty cool though. Pretty cool. So hard hat, your game over. We see you with the PPE, protective personal equipment. I think that's what it stands for, with the PPE on. Man, it was real in the plant. So things that I was doing while I was in the plant life, again, still no tech, no IT, no networking, no none of that. All right. I didn't have any of this. I wasn't even thinking, I didn't even know my job existed. And I don't even know if it existed really at that time. Yeah, Gene said OSHA ready. Absolutely. Yeah, we had all types of regulations. So I was working at the local nuclear plant as a nuclear engineer. I was being trained up on that. And like you said, hard hat with the glasses, the protective glasses. If you would see what was on this badge here, it was so many different things to give me access to different places. They're very big on safety. They're very big on safety. So I'm transitioning here and I'm learning and I'm growing. And there's all different types of things that I'm learning. And here, these are some of the things that I was learning. Let's see what I was learning. Man, when you look at some of these wiring diagrams and these plant systems, I mean, it was just crazy. I think that one time I was having such an issue troubleshooting something. It's so funny when I look back at this picture, I don't even know what this is about, right? I don't even know all of the details of what I was focusing in on here. I know that. So there are all these subsystems. So within a nuclear plant, there are all types of subsystems that help the nuclear plant run efficiently. There are all types of pumps. There's all types of sensors. There's all types of, this is an auxiliary transformer, as you can see here. And there are several different ones. This is a startup transformer. I don't even know what all this stands for. And this isn't proprietary because I don't even know what any of this stuff means. Nobody, like, even if you looked at this, would you even know what this means? And probably the systems look completely different today. But there was an auxiliary transformer, which was the normal operation for a PWR, a pressurized water reactor. As you see here, there's another one, cooling water pump, residual heat removal, MCC main something transfer. I mean, I was going through all types of training to really understand how all these subsystems work together in order to create electricity for my local utility. So, it was just hard, man. It was very, very difficult. And here, let me show you a little bit more. I'm going to do a little bit more show and tell, like I said. And it's so funny. Every time that we move, I show my wife just throws this into my office because she knows that I still reference it back. So as you can see here, this is what you call, here, let me pull it back here so I can see a little more. This is like the electrical, not the electrical, but this is the nuclear plant design for a boiling water reactor, a BWR. This is a GE BWR schematic, right? So one thing that this is showing is that this is the core of the reactor. This is the core of the reactor. And as you can see at the top, there is heat, right? And then you see at the bottom, this is like water. And then we see that these are two, what you call recirculation pools, where a lot of times, one thing that's very important for nuclear plants is the ability to transfer heat. Heat transfer and thermodynamics, mechanical engineers thrive in these type of environments, right? So you have all types of heating and pumps. And what happens really is the main thing that happens is that within this reactor core, nuclear, so there is a process called fission, there's a process called fission, which means this atoms are splitting. Atoms are continuously splitting here within the core of the reactor. And those atoms splitting creates heat energy. That heat goes ahead and boils water. That water creates steam. Steam goes to wherever it needs to go, and it turns a turbine, which is here. I believe that this is a turbine. And this turbine goes from this heat and steam energy into actual electrical energy. It just swirls and swirls and swirls and swirls and swirls and just keep on swirling, right? So that turns into electrical power or electrical energy. This is just a cooling tower. And then eventually it gets to your house. That's the best way that I can describe it. So there's like 3 different processes in creating and getting electricity into people's houses. It's generation, transmission, and distribution. This is all generation. This whole thing is generation that comes from a nuclear plant. And the transmission are those different poles that are up that you see as you're driving on the freeway. Those are like the step up. So there's step up and step. Oh my gosh, I don't want to get so much into it, but there's step up and step down transformers where you increase the power when it goes to a certain type of system on top of the lines. And then eventually you get to your distribution where you see your substations that are a lot of times within your local areas. Like you'll see like a big old yard of all this electrical equipment. But this all is the generation. This is how people are creating electricity. And this is just one type of generation, right? This is one type of generation in a nuclear plant. So that's what I was doing. That's what I was doing early in my career. That's what I was focused on. Now, what is the connection with cybersecurity here? What is the connection with cybersecurity? What is the connection with cybersecurity? And I want to go. Let me see if I can find something very quickly, like a quick little video that is perfect. I think this will be great. Okay, let me go ahead and share this with you all so you all can see what Stuxnet was and how Stuxnet really changed the trajectory of my career. Let me take this. Let me throw this over here. Still trying to get all my windows and everything. If you all see my computer, it's like a million different windows that are here. Million different windows. Hopefully this is correct. Let me see what you all are saying in the chat. Let me see what you all are talking about in the chat. Okay, OSHA ready. I bet that was fun. It was, no, Gene, it was not fun. It was not fun. What I was doing in these nuclear plants is that a lot of, especially as a nuclear INC engineer, there were things called outages. So that's when like the nuclear plant was shut down in order for us to change out equipment, because when the plant is running, there's so much heat, like I was mentioning before, and radiation or like radiation materials, that things that would harm us if we were going in those environments. So when there's a shutdown, the engineers, like the INC engineers, we would have to go into certain areas within the plant in order to service them, change out equipment, upgrade things. It was not a fun thing. It was not fun. It was not for the light of heart. So it was cool to learn and understand. And I knew I was growing in my knowledge and understanding, but it wasn't fun. It was not fun. Fasting. Back when Gabe was only eating noodles, that's when I was only eating noodles. Okay? Listen. Back when Kate was only eating noodles, yeah, they get crazy. I could imagine it was 100 times, yeah, in a power plant. Yeah, that's a fact. All I know is that a schematic, it was just a schematic of some sort, right? And it showed all of those different subsystems and support systems, with like those auxiliary transformers, those backup generators, all of that. I think that was a schematic of those backup systems. Free Zone Lou, yeah, welcome to the chat. Salute, and your stream been fuego, bro. Thank you, definitely appreciate it. Gene said he loved a schematic, man. He said he feeling the schematic. Salute, stream's been great. Pressure lines, okay. Three-phase, three-phase power, absolutely. That's exactly how it was transferred, right? So we use the three-phase power there within that generation system. How many reactors did this was a two unit. One was decommissioned, and we were managing. I was just dealing with one unit. So there's Fermi 1, which was also on that same site, and it was what you call decommissioned. So it's pretty much a decommissioned nuclear plant is like nothing really happens there. It's just people managing, making sure that the reactor stays cool, and that happens a lot of times. But I was working on Fermi 2, which was the the BWR there in Michigan, which is the boiling water reactor. So it was 2 reactors. But there are some organizations that have 3, 4, 5, and 6. If you all remember Fukushima, that was that big old catastrophe, nuclear plant catastrophe. I think they had like 6 or 7 different reactors on one site. So yeah, it was crazy. Casual economist, welcome through. Thank you for coming through. Go into details about electrical industry. What's a PSC or TP? No, I'm not about to go into detail about that. No, because that would take a long time. And some of the information I don't even remember because I haven't done a lot of that electrical industry stuff in a while. Yeah, the grunt work to some degree. Yeah. But it was some necessary work because many times you would think like in IT, many things are very manual or are very like automated. You use software in order to manage your systems. Like a network administrator would log into a system via RDP, like remote desktop protocol, if it's a Windows system, or you might use SSH as some type of some type of Linux system or something, or some type of utility. If you're servicing nuclear plant environments or just industrial environments, many times you have to walk down those systems. You have to physically go up to bridges or physically go up to systems and plug in USBs or plug in CD drives or flash drives or something in order to be able to upgrade systems, to flash it. So it was a very different environment than you would think of. That's IT. So Dave just yeah, it was. So that's another thing. You would get what you call like an occupational dose, and dose is the amount of radiation material that you're exposed to throughout the year. So we used to wear like a badging that was scanned every single time that we went to work to be able to monitor how much occupational dose we would get, or how much radiation we would actually be exposed to by working at a nuclear plant. So yeah, that could affect your ability to have kids, and pregnant women couldn't go in those environments. It was just crazy. It was just crazy to some degree. Computer Geek says, I thought hazmat was bad. I did the craziest environments around some dangerous chemicals. Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. I'm right there with you, man. Okay, let's get into what changed. How did everything change? Let me remove that one. Let me share again. And I'm going to share this with you. And it's going to give just a little breakdown of what Stuxnet is. Actually, I don't think I'm sharing the right thing. Let me see if I can go here, because I think I have to go. Yeah, okay. I did share the correct thing. Let's get it. Let's get it.
In June last year, a computer virus called Stuxnet was discovered lurking in the databanks of power plants, traffic control systems, and factories around the world. 20 times more complex than any previous virus code, it had an array of capabilities. Among them, the ability to turn up the pressure inside nuclear reactors or switch off oil pipelines, and Stuxnet could tell the system operators everything was normal. Unlike most viruses, Stuxnet doesn't carry the usual forged security clearance that helps viruses burrow into systems. It actually had a real clearance, stolen from one of the most reputable computer technology companies in the world. It exploited security gaps that system creators are unaware of. These holes are known as 0 days, and the most successful viruses exploit them. The details of a 0 day can be sold on the black market for $100,000. Stuxnet took advantage of 20 0 days. But once it got into a system, it didn't always activate. Buried deep in the Stuxnet code was a specific target. Without that target, the virus remained dormant. What was it looking to shut down? The centrifuges that spin nuclear material at Iran's enrichment facilities. Stuxnet was a weapon, the first to be made entirely out of code. The Washington-based Institute for Science and International Security says the virus may have shut down 1,000 centrifuges at Natanz, Iran's main enrichment facility, last year. In November, the International Atomic Energy Agency, the UN's nuclear watchdog, said Iran had suspended work at its nuclear facilities without explaining why. Many observers credited Stuxnet. Last month, the Iranian government conceded the virus's infection of the Bushehr nuclear facility, still under construction, meant that switching the plant on could lead to a national electricity blackout. Iran has responded to the attack with an open call for hackers to join the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and has reportedly amassed the second largest online army in the world. So who was behind Stuxnet? There's no evidence beyond rumor. Some have it that Israel is responsible because the virus code apparently contains references to the Hebrew Bible. Others believe the US was involved in the testing and development. The finger has even been pointed at Siemens mobile phone company, whose software is used by the Iranian regime. The most important question may not be who designed it, but who will redesign it. The evolution has been so fast that 9 months after its detection, the first virus that could crash power grids or destroy oil pipelines is available online for anyone to download and tinker with. You can watch people on YouTube pulling Stuxnet apart. It's an open source weapon. And there's no way of knowing who will use it or what they will use it for.
Interesting stuff there, right? Very interesting stuff. So this is Stuxnet, right? Like, subscribe, and share. Let's hit a couple of things from the chat. Take a quick little break. Is this stream on ICS? Part of it is on ICS because that's very much so a part of my journey. And when Sako Kage, and welcome to the chat again, Sako Kage is mentioning industrial control systems, or ICS, and that's exactly one of my specialty within cybersecurity. So that is very true. Should you quit being a pen tester when things are getting rough? No, man, keep on going. Keep on going. When you see there's different opportunities, man, take advantage of them, network with individuals within the field and people who are hiring for a pen tester. So I would say to keep on going. We all know who did it. Wired Dog said we all know who did it. There's speculation that Israel worked with America, and there's a whole documentary also on YouTube on Stuxnet. But how does that apply to me? Why am I bringing up Stuxnet? That is because when Stuxnet had came out, when it had become a big deal, one thing that happened is that it caused shockwaves across the commercial nuclear industry around the world. Not only within nuclear plants, like it mentioned in Iran, but also commercial nuclear plants, which was mine right there in Detroit, Michigan. I mean, literally, Stuxnet changed my life. It changed the entire trajectory of my career. And as a result, I went from a nuclear engineer, right? I was a nuclear INC engineer functioning in that capacity to a nuclear cybersecurity engineer. What does that even mean, man? A nuclear cybersecurity engineer was the next thing that I started to do in my life. So I started getting put on so many different cybersecurity projects. I mean, this is me and my team. This is the nuclear or the cybersecurity engineering team, combined with some other individuals, because we had individuals who came from Fukushima, where that event had just recently had happened not too long ago. And as you see your boy, you see me. Look at your boy Gabe. Look at me. Look at me. And as I was telling you before, we wore so much on our badges where some of this was monitoring our occupational dose or dosimetry on us, right? How much radiation were we actually receiving as it concerns our occupation? And right here, we are in, it almost looks like you're taking a scroll back into the 1970s or so. This is the backup operations room. So this is what it would look like for nuclear power operators and senior nuclear power operators. This is them operating a nuclear plant. And as you see here in the back, this little, I guess, design here, this actually represents all of the cells for where the nuclear material will be inserted into the core of the reactor. These are all like alarm systems. This is just all types of monitoring systems, whether pressure, whether temperature. I mean, it's so much going on here. It's so much going on here. And like I said, you're getting your pressure here, your temperature, what mode you're in, and output megawattage. This is all, but this is like a mimic of what it looks like, right? Yeah, 1,143 megawatts. Yep, that's what our BWR was putting out at the time. And a lot of this information is mimicked from the actual reactor control room. So yeah, absolutely. Wire Dogs, we all know who did it. Yeah. Do you believe a strong networking foundation is required to be great in cybersecurity, even cloud? I would say yes. I would say absolutely yes. That was actually one of my weak points when I was transitioning into cybersecurity from electrical engineering, is that I didn't have a lot of good network administration or just networking understanding. So that's what I started to study. I started to study hard for the CCNA. And that was part of that journey going forward. Looks like NASA. Yeah, man, it might look like a NASA control room, but this is actually our little lowly BWR, boiling water reactor control room here. Absolutely. Salute, keep it techie. Welcome. Welcome to the chat, man. And we're just going over some of my cybersecurity journey. And we just went over Stuxnet and how that changed me from like a nuclear INC engineer into a nuclear cybersecurity engineer. And these are several of my highlights from when I was working at a nuclear plant. And let's keep going forward, because not only that, now we're getting to the cybersecurity stuff a little bit more, right? Let's see where I want to go next. I just got pictures here. I got a whole bunch of pictures. Let's see, plant life. Going over that. That's when I started to study, right? So if you all were present for my last streams, you would see that we went over some free type of resources, but I was getting trainings that I didn't even know that cost so much, right? So this was some years ago, and I was starting to learn and train, and they put us through all types of different of these SANS certification exams and these SAM certification trainings. And this kind of went over a lot of the fundamentals of what you call like ICS cybersecurity or industrial control system cybersecurity. So I went over several of these, and this is kind of like a picture of me studying. This is one time I just knew I had so much studying, and I had a certification exam coming up pretty soon. And what had happened is that I had my index here because it's open book. So you get your books and you get your index and everything ready before you take the exam. So that was part of my journey, studying, and doing even more studying as I was learning and transitioning into cybersecurity. Now, one thing that was asked by Jay was that of networking. And I found that networking was one of my weak points, because I didn't know anything about IP addresses or MAC addresses or anything. And back then, you could take the CCNA or the Cisco Certified Network Associate exam. You could take that in two parts. You could take the ICND1 and the ICND2. I took the ICND1, where we went over just basic networking fundamentals. I think it took maybe 2 or 3 months for me to study for that cert. And I ended up getting it, right? I ended up getting that one. Let's see what else happened next. Let me see what else happened. Do you all have any questions? As I am going over some of this journey? Going over some of this journey here. Any questions from the chat? Where we're talking about the humble beginnings, the journey into cybersecurity. So Stuxnet had just happened. I started to change in my role. And then actually so my manager was about to retire, and he didn't want to run the cybersecurity program at the nuclear plant anymore. And he was going to be passing on the reins to me. And at that point, I'm like, I don't want to stay here and do managerial things, but rather I want to take that job on the road. I want to take my talents to the contracting world. And that's when I started to get into contracting roles. I started working, actually transitioned from Detroit to Charlotte, North Carolina, where I was working as a nuclear cybersecurity plant assessor. I was working as an assessor for nuclear plants, because one thing that happens with these nuclear plants is that I think every 1.5 or 2 years, they have these inspections, these cybersecurity inspections by the NRC, or the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, which is a government entity that makes sure that things are right at local nuclear plants or commercial nuclear plants all around the United States. So I was getting to that, and I was traveling from plant to plant, from environment to environment, doing plant assessments. And that was pretty cool, because I started learning about a lot of the different technologies that was working there. I started learning about a lot of the newer plant designs and what some of the regulations were coming out at the time for nuclear plants, but even jumping even deeper within industrial control systems and OT, or operational technology. Jay said, thank you for answering. I'm currently an auditor, but thinking of going the NOC route to really learn the fundamentals of cyber and cloud. I think compliance is great, but the more niche down, the better, even with that sector. Absolutely. Niching is, and that's one thing that I really focused on. Nuclear cybersecurity was something that was very interesting. It was very good for me. But one thing that I was finding is that nuclear plants were starting to shut down all over the United States. One of the plants that I was doing an assessment on was the Diablo Canyon nuclear plant, which is in San Luis Obispo, California. So I used to travel there. I actually traveled there in order to do like a plant walk down and a plant assessment while I was there. But one thing that I found out several years later is that plant is actually now decommissioned. It's now shut down. So one thing I was finding out is that all these nuclear plants are starting to shut down. So when you talk about niching down and focusing in on certain areas, I started to focus in on industrial control systems and operational technology and where I was taking my career. Because previously I was electrical engineer, wire harness design engineer, nuclear INC engineer, nuclear cybersecurity engineer, and now I was trying to focus in on just ICS and OT cybersecurity, industrial cybersecurity as a whole. So I didn't want to only focus in there on nuclear plants, but I wanted to get into oil and gas, electrical utility organizations, wind, all of these different things, right? So yes, absolutely. And I think that your path is good because you going into a NOC or a network operations center, that really a lot of times, and I've seen this a lot of times, NOCs and SOCs or network operations centers and security operations centers, those are not too far away from each other, right? You all are monitoring some of the same, a lot of the same type of systems, but just for different reasons and different purposes, whether things are up or down, whether with a SOC, it's more of the security related things where you might have a Splunk instance running and you might have threat detections. So going into a NOC, and sometimes those NOCs and SOCs are in the same place. So I would say look out for that, or look out for whoever the SOC leads are within your organization. And that might even transition you even better over there into cybersecurity and cloud. And just like you were mentioning with NOCs, you can get into cyber and cloud because they monitor a lot of the same environments. So I'm niching down into ICS and OT cybersecurity. And then I started working for another organization that was here. Let me see. Sometimes I forget, man. Sometimes I forget. Let me go to my LinkedIn. Sometimes I forget on what came next. But again, if you guys have any questions or concerns, throw them down there in the chat. It looks like there's about 30 people or so here. Thank you all for coming through to the Struggle Security channel. I'm going over my cybersecurity journey. I went from undergrad, where I was majoring in electrical engineering, transitioned into the automotive field, then transitioned again into the nuclear field, the nuclear instrumentation and controls. Then Stuxnet happened. That changed everything. That changed everything in my career field, where I started to focus on cybersecurity within industrial environments like nuclear. Took that show on the road, started doing contracting, where I wasn't working for one organization, but multiple organizations, assessing nuclear plants for cybersecurity controls and making sure that they were compliant. So that's where we are in that journey. And then after that, I'm about to go to my LinkedIn. What did I do next? Let's see what I did next. Oh, then I went from that cybersecurity assessor into being what was I doing? Let's see. So yeah, I did cybersecurity assessments for multiple organizations. I'm looking at it here. So I was working for a contracting organization called Ariva, but then I started working for another company called Westinghouse. Westinghouse, I was there for like a year. How long was I contracted? About a year and a half I contracted for Westinghouse. And I'm going to show you what Westinghouse creates. What does Westinghouse create? Westinghouse had created these devices or these things. Let me show you. I'm going to share my screen. I started working for Westinghouse, who creates these devices or these reactors called the AP1000s. So the AP1000s are considered like the next generation of nuclear plants, right? So nuclear power plant design is sold by Westinghouse Electric. And the plant is a pressurized water reactor, which is just a different type of water reactor, which is different from the boiling water reactor that I used to work at. And like it says, it has a passive nuclear safety system and mini design intended to lower the capability, the capacity. I'm sorry, the capital cost and improve economics. So I started working for the company that created nuclear reactors. I thought this was an extremely good move because one thing that this did for me is that it kind of really gave me a lot of company and kind of like career cachet, right? Because if I'm doing nuclear cybersecurity, why not work for the organization that are making the nuclear reactors all around the world? And that's when a lot of my experience started to become more international in its capacity, because Westinghouse wasn't only selling nuclear reactors there in the US for United States commercial nuclear plants, but also all around the world. They made some in China. They were doing things in India, things in Europe, they were even looking at creating nuclear plants or selling these nuclear plants in these nuclear plants in Africa. So, I was seeing a lot of opportunity happening here where I was contracting with this organization and I was working more on the compliance side, right? Is that getting things ready, getting devices ready or security devices ready to be deployed in these AP1000 nuclear plants before these things went live. So I was focusing on industrial firewalls. I was testing these devices and writing up my notes and putting together configurations and testing out different protocols. That was pretty cool. I used to test out these things called Tofino firewalls, which are an industrial version of just like the basic firewalls, like a Cisco ASA or something. What else was I doing? I was getting devices like Windows systems and Windows Active Directory environments hardened to the point where they would cover all the different components that are within a nuclear plant. Because just as I was mentioning before, these nuclear plants and these industrial environments are very different than IT environments. So you have like power systems, you have all types of gas systems and water systems and wind, and all of that is kind of associated. So I was doing different hardening for some of those Windows systems. So it was just a lot that I was doing there for about a year and a half. And now this is me really transitioning into industrial cybersecurity. I'm not just focused on nuclear, but on industrial cybersecurity as a whole. Let's see what people are talking about. I think I focused on that. Jay said, I think it's so cool you're in nuclear. I want to be in aerospace. Hopefully, by the time I have more experience, the industry will be more regulated when it comes to cyber. Absolutely. There are several organizations that are the aerospace company. Isn't that? Let's see, aerospace company. I think they have a lot of cybersecurity, or the aerospace corporation. I think they're like a defense contracting organization. And they have a lot of roles, even within cybersecurity. I knew a guy, I think, let's see, security. Let me see. I'm on the careers page now. Yeah. The Aerospace Corporation here. Let me share this out, and we can take a look at that very quickly. The Aerospace Corporation is doing a lot of cybersecurity, even within aerospace engineering or the aerospace field. They have several openings even now, where with these tech job layoffs and whatnot, I don't think they affect a lot of these industrial organizations or these defense contracting organizations like a lot of others. They have information security engineer with 2 locations. This was posted 30 plus days ago, but this one is only six days ago. A cybersecurity engineering role, network security engineering role, network security engineer in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So yeah, they have several roles that are even open. Information assurance, where you're getting into some of your GCP stuff. This one was posted today, a defense cyber ops engineering manager. What is that? Yeah, the Aerospace Corporation is trusted partner for the nation's space program, solving the hardest problems and providing unmatched technical expertise. Man, I would even say, man, listen, Jay, I would say start looking at some of these type of roles here. They're always posting for industrial or aerospace engineering or cybersecurity roles for aerospace engineering. So heavily recommended there. Heavily recommended. Okay. So let's keep on going. Let me look at some of the other comments here. Tariq, welcome to the chat, man. It says currently doing SOC work, about to hit my first year, thinking the next move is to cloud security. That might be a move. Been studying for some Azure and AWS things on Udemy. Hopeful to obtain a junior cloud or cloud engineer role. Absolutely, man. I think that's a fair transition. You going from a SOC role, right? And again, like you're getting that experience under your belt. So many times it's much easier to transition from a security role to another niche within security. So transitioning to cloud, I think, is very logical. So that makes a lot of sense. Air brakes for trains. I kind of get it. It might have been something I said earlier, Ty, but give me context if you want me to understand a little bit more, because I might have forgot what I was talking about. My bad, man. Jay says aerospace industry still seems unclear on if they want to use 800 171. So in this standard or NAS 9933, they've been trying out. I am not sure. I'm not sure of what those standards are. I think I've heard of 171 before, but yeah, that's good information, man. So I'm not very informed on what the aerospace industry is doing as it concerns regulations and standards that they're going by. But for sure, that's knowledge that I'm sure the Aerospace Corporation would definitely want to know, man. Definitely want And the Microsoft and the ICS, is Microsoft ever on the same side as the industrial infrastructure? How to get hands-on experience. Sold. What do you mean by sold? The same sold? What's the sold? Listen, if I don't know, I will look it up. Sold. SODE. What is a sold? Special Olympics Delaware? Nope, that ain't what you mean. Let's see. Sold. Tell me what sold means, because I don't know what that means, man. I don't know what that means. And then I'll be able to better tell you about is that it, Princess? No, you're not late, man. You're right on time, but we kind of went over a lot, so you might be a little bit late. I was talking about some of my transition into cybersecurity, but yeah, I might be a little late. Oh, side, the same side. Okay, you were asking, Jay, it's on the same side of industrial infrastructure. Yeah. So one thing that I think that people think that a lot of this industrial infrastructure is very different than the same stuff that they use in IT. Many times it's the same exact equipment. So you might have a device called an HMI, which stands for human machine interface. It a lot of times is the same as like just a Windows machine, like a Windows desktop machine that you might get from, I don't know, from the store. But a lot of times it's like a stripped back version, or it might even have like some type of tablet type of version, but it's a stripped back version of typical Windows machines. Or you might have different Linux operating systems. One that's common in some of the industrial environments is that of Windows BusyBox, or I'm sorry, Linux BusyBox. Let me see if I can find that, because I think that they have a version here where a lot of times within, here it is here. I'm gonna find it online. Windows, let's see, Linux BusyBox online. Let me make this bigger for you all to take a look at. And this might answer more of your question of how to get hands-on experience. You can be able to understand. So this is you can interact with this. This is a Linux BusyBox PC emulator here. So here, let's take a look at this. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Let me take a couple of things down when you talk about hands-on experience. And this is also used within IoT type of devices too. So here, let me get my Linux stuff out. Come on, Keep It Techie. Help me out. Tell me what you want me to run. So BusyBox, let's see. Let me go back over to the terminal. Okay, so let me ls. Let me see where I'm at. Okay, I see that I have, let me minimize this so I can see the whole screen. Okay, we see that we have a couple of different directories here. Let's go to Ben. Well, actually, let me put who am I? Who am I first? Unknown. So I guess this has just like a stripped back version of it. Let's go to Ben. Let's see what's in Ben. Oh shoot, there's a whole bunch of stuff within Ben. Let's see. I'm just taking a look at some of this stuff. So it looks like it has like a number of, are these, can't use file? Let's see if I could cat something. Well, these are just all of the applications there. So let's CD. Let's go back. Let me zoom in a little bit more. And the only reason why I bring this up is to show you that these are some versions. This is a version of Linux that's very common within some of the industrial control systems. Is there anything in the temp directory? Let's see, nah, ain't nothing in there. CD. Let's go into dev. What? Can't CD to dev. Why? Sudo. Unknown user root. Man, listen, I'm trying to be root. Here, let me go back up to the top. I'm trying to be root. Let me be root. Sudo. Nope, that don't work. Okay, let's go into some of the other directories. Let me go back a little bit. What is this lost and found? Oh, they have a tab complete here. Ain't nothing in there. Okay, see proc. What is in proc? Okay, they got a couple of things here. Let me see. What is in 1. Okay, maps root. Anyway, I'm just kind of going around on this emulation of Windows BusyBox, but this is something that's there, right? This is something that is common within industrial environments, and this isn't a typical Linux operation system. Right? This is the typical Linux operating system here. This is something that's more stripped down and more purpose driven when you talk about what is used within industrial environments compared to what's used in IT environments. You said thank you, Sockside. Thanks, that reinsurance helps a lot. Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. For sure. Keep it techie. Windows 10, Windows 11, S mode is scaled down version of 10. S mode is totally locked down. Absolutely, absolutely. But they might even have. So there's some even versions of Windows where they call like Windows. What is it? Let's see. Windows. Let me see. Industrial versions of Windows, because I think it's like CE, Windows CE. That's another one. I still see Windows CE from place to place, and it's called Windows CE or Windows Embedded is another version. And this is also a common version, and it's also deprecated. Like nobody uses this anymore. Windows Embedded Compact, or like it says, formerly used Windows CE, Windows Powered, or Windows CE is an operating system subfamily developed by Microsoft as part of Windows Embedded family of products. Unlike Windows Embedded Standard, which is based all this Windows NT. Let me see if they give a purpose build. Originally, CE was designed for minimalistic and small computers. However, CE has its own kernel, whereas those such as Windows XP Embedded, that's another one. Windows XP Embedded is another one that I've seen, are based on NT. Windows CE was a modular componentized operating system that served as foundation of several classes of devices such as handheld PC, pocket PC, auto PC, and all this, Windows 7 phone. So these are also used within industrial environments, and it might be something that might connect to something like a generator, right? Something that connects, like you remember I was showing you all of these little, let me see, where is my thing? I was showing you all this earlier. Let me bring it back. Let me bring it back. This. So you see all these. Oh, this is upside down. This is upside down. You see all these subsystems and these other smaller systems here. There might be some sensors that are here within the core of the nuclear reactor. And there's sensors that might be monitoring maybe like pressure. Sensors that might be monitoring temperature, sensors that might be monitoring anything else within this environment. And that typically connects back to some type of digital system. It'll connect back to a computer in order for individuals to get an understanding of what's actually happening in this environment. It might go to a computer screen, or it might have some type of intermediary. But I say that to say you might have a Windows XP machine somewhere in this environment. You might have Windows CE running here. You might have a Linux BusyBox that might be also running somewhere within this environment for the engineers to be able to monitor and track the progress here. So like I mentioned, some of these operating systems are still there. But they're just stripped down versions of what we might see within the enterprise environment. Yeah. Keep taking was trying to give me directions. Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was still in Temple when I LS'd in there. Back out the directory for sure. I tried. I think I did eventually. Yeah, you said, yeah. So, hey, keep it techie. Absolutely. So, where am I at? Deacon Dave. Yeah. Welcome to the chat, man. Yeah, welcome to the chat. I think they use those. Yes, that's kiosk in ATMs, also kiosk there in airport systems, right? So you see like the kiosks that you use to check in your bags and everything and check in. Those are very similar to what you might see in an industrial environment. Let me see if I can find an HMI for you all. HMI, I'm gonna find one in a nuclear plant, and I'll show you what they actually look like. Let me see if they have some videos actually. Let me see if this is cool. Let me see if this is. I'm looking for a video. Let me just go to YouTube. Let me go to YouTube so I can show you what a human machine interface looks like. HMI. Oh, here we go. Real Parts. That's another great resource for people looking to get into industrial cybersecurity. Oh my gosh, Real Pars is probably
Welcome
like
to
one of the best resources. They mainly focus in on engineering concepts, electrical utilities, industrial environments, but it is very good for individuals trying to get into um, industrial cybersecurity. Let's take a look at what they talk about as it concerns an HMI, a human machine interface device.
another
See, am I sharing correctly? Let me make sure I'm sharing correctly where you all are able to hear the audio too. And we're getting to what HMIs are. Okay, boom.
informative video from RealPars. Today, you'll learn all about HMIs.
And it's cool because it's just like a little six-minute video. Like we'll just go through the majority of it. And feel free to throw any of your questions or concerns down there in the chat. We'll address them. We'll have a conversation about them. I might laugh at them and let you laugh at me if I explain it incorrectly. So just let me know. And if I say anything incorrectly, feel free to let me know. You saw Keep It Techie was helping me with going on the BusyBox Linux system. Feel free to throw that in there as you see fit. Let's take a look at HMIs.
Before starting this video, I want to remind you that if you're new to the RealPars channel here on YouTube, be sure to click the subscribe button below and the little bell thingy to stay up to date with the latest and greatest PLC programming tips and tricks. Maybe you've never heard of an HMI, but I'll bet you encounter them pretty regularly.
I can answer this one very quickly. Jay has a very good question. He says, contracting versus employment. Do you have a preference? I hear of a barrier entry newbies. Yes, absolutely. Here, I did a video on contracting versus full time. I'm gonna throw this in the chat and then we'll get right back to the video.
HMI is short for Human Machine Interface. We use HMIs in industry to control and monitor machines. A very common HMI that you all encounter on a regular basis would be an ATM machine. The screen and push buttons allow you to operate the machine to dispense a certain amount of money. Or
this is exactly what WireDog has said. I believe WireDog, I think, said that. Yep, kiosk and ATMs, absolutely, 100%. So these are things that you see here.
Or to deposit money. Let's talk about industrial HMIs now. It would be hard to have a good automated process in industry without an HMI. Many times, an HMI will be in the form of a screen, kind of like a computer screen. And more times than not, they are touchscreen.
Yep.
An operator or maintenance personnel can operate and monitor the machine from the HMI. They may include information like temperature, pressure, process steps, and material counts. They can also show very precise levels in tanks and exact positioning of machines. Where machine information used to be viewed on multiple indicators, it can now be viewed on one screen. The possibilities are only limited to the software and hardware used. For maintenance personnel, many HMIs can also connect to PLC logic and display it on the screen for troubleshooting purposes.
Yep.
This can save valuable time compared to connecting a computer or laptop every time. Another benefit of having a modern HMI is the fact that plants and other industrial sites can monitor and control multiple machines or other equipment. A small manufacturing facility could even monitor the entire plant on one centrally located HMI. Water and wastewater facilities have utilized this for years by coupling an HMI with a PLC.
And you know what's so interesting about this? I want to take a quick little pause. Hold up. I want to take a quick little pause here about HMIs. You remember earlier when I was talking about Stuxnet, how they spoke about how Stuxnet was able to cause centrifuges to spin out of control, affecting the nuclear enrichment process in that Iranian facility. One reason why those centrifuges were spinning out of control is because that virus, Stuxnet, it was written to the point where it gave incorrect information to the HMI. The HMI was showing that all of the information, all of the spinning and everything was under control and it was good, when in actuality, it was giving false information about the status of those systems. So the engineers, those people monitoring that process, they were not able to accurately predict when those devices were going to fail. So they kept on just replacing centrifuges, replacing. And centrifuges are these things that would just spin, and it works in enriching nuclear material. And that's why it's like suspected that Israel and America worked together, because they thought that they were trying to create nuclear weapons, right? So these centrifuges were just spinning, and the HMI did. Let me see. The HMI did not have the ability to detect that something bad was happening within that control system. Very interesting stuff here. Very interesting stuff. Let's keep going.
They're able to monitor remote locations like water pumps, as well as equipment inside the plant. You probably get the idea now that an HMI is the operating panel and monitoring screen. But how does the HMI actually connect to the machine to be able to control and monitor it? Let's take a look. First, HMIs use special software, so engineers can program them correctly. Different brands of panels use different software accordingly. The software allows the engineer to design what the operator will actually see on the screen, what they can monitor on the screen, what buttons can be pushed, and how the operator can manipulate the machine. For example, an HMI may have a large tank displayed on the screen with the level of a liquid displayed. Next to the tank is a pump to lower the liquid level.
Yep.
An HMI can also have the start and stop button displayed and usable on the screen next to the pump.
Now let's think about this a little bit. I want to kind of get our minds churning a little bit here. Now you see that the HMI is touchscreen. With an ATM system, you're able to put in your code in order to be able to deposit or withdraw money from your different accounts. You're able to check different things with a scanning kiosk at an airport. You'll be able to tap buttons to check in your bags and everything. Now, when you talk about an HMI, many times these devices are not locked down. They're not hardened from a cybersecurity perspective. In many cases, you'll see an HMI in a nuclear plant or any type of plant environment, oil and gas, that you can just walk up and, like it says, start or stop a process. Now, this is a computer, like it was mentioning. This is a computer that you could just walk up to and touch and hit and can start or stop a pump or a major critical process or a safety process within an environment. That's where a lot of times you see in industrial cybersecurity or ICS cybersecurity, you see the blend of physical security and cybersecurity, where a lot of times physical security controls are important so that people are not able to access those critical systems. So it's very, 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 very interesting. Oh, I see that there were some of the comments that I might have missed. Gonzo said, I'm late, off topic, but what are your thoughts on Let's Defend as a resource? Let's Defend. I think I've heard of that. You could take a look at that. Let's see. Let's Defend. I've heard of this. I think I might even have an account. I might need to take a look at it. You know what? I'm going to table that one, Gonzo, for the next stream because I would like to delve into it. I'll say, hey, let's just get into it. I might even just sign up for an account and practice a couple of things, but I've never tried it. I've tried TryHackMe. I definitely have TryHackMe, but Let's Defend looks like a version of that. Tell me a little bit more about it if you know. But yeah, thanks for coming through. I'm happy that you came through, whether you're early, whether you're late, whether you're watching the playback. Happy for you to be here for sure. Wire Dog said a lot of ICS and SCADA stuff uses their own proprietary protocols. Hopefully they will use Modbus. Absolutely. Yeah, Modbus is another one, right? Modbus, DNP3, Profinet, Profibus. I mean, you name it. Siemens has its own called S7. So a lot of these proprietary protocols are very interesting. And a lot of times what happens there is that those computer systems or those industrial systems are talking Modbus, where you might see a domain controller within an Active Directory environment. It'll talk Kerberos. It'll be talking, I don't know, SMB. It'll be talking a lot of different other protocols. In NTLM, NetBIOS name server, right? It'll be talking a lot of these different protocols where in industrial environments, they talk, like you said, Modbus is one of those for sure. Let's see some other comments. Schedule a free mentor link on my absolutely, absolutely. So that's another thing. Keep It Techie, he is providing a free service to many individuals who are interested in getting into tech or even trying to, I guess, figure out what they want to do from a tech perspective in their careers. I would heavily recommend that you all go to his channel. You can just press his channel right here, Keep It Techie, on YouTube, and book a session with him, and he'll be able to maybe try to sort out some of those thoughts about where you want to go in your career and ideas. As a seasoned professional himself, he has a lot of knowledge that he can give to you, and he's offering this as a free service. So go to Keep It Techie and schedule, like he has there, a mentor session with him, and you'll be able to understand more about that tech journey there. Yeah, Jay said fire. Ty said cool. I think he was talking to Keep It Techie. Gonzo said nice. How did you prepare for interviews when new in the industry? Man, that's a good question. That might be a good question for the next stream too. Listen, Jay and Gonzo, you guys, I'm starring both of your comments because I'm always looking for great information. And like I will cover it. Like I know that last time a couple of times ago, Wired Dog was talking about free resources, and we had that streamed the last time. So thank you for throwing those in there, and we will definitely be able to take a look at that. Yeah, Toastmasters is a really good one. My wife actually did Toastmasters when she was interviewing for nurse anesthetist schools because they have to do like presentations and an interview process. But she was doing Toastmasters heavily doing Toastmasters. I need to get back over to Let's Defend. Princessa, come to the next stream, and that is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about Let's Defend. I'm not even going to start an account. Well, you know what I'll do? I'll start an account, and then I'm going to have you all guide me through what you all want me to do, what things or what challenges. I want you all to challenge me. I want you all to watch me struggle in something, right? I want you all to watch me struggle. So we're going to do that for the next one. We're definitely going to do that for the next one. He says, Gonzo just said he just found out about it. And yeah, anytime, Keep It Techie, for sure. Gonzo said he just found out about it, and it seems to help with SOC analyst training, and it's affordable. Yeah, I'm going to sign up for an account. I have the website here. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to sign up for the account, and we're going to take a look at that. Let's take a look at HMIs, and then we might just call it a day. Let's just take a look at these HMIs. And this is really trying to understand what human-machine interfaces are as it concerns operating systems and their capabilities to affect industrial control systems or industrial systems within plant environments.
This display would be able to actually turn the pump on and off. But it's not as easy as just placing a button on the screen or a tank with a level on the screen. The person programming the HMI has to program each indicator and button to a specific input or output address of a PLC. This brings up another point. The HMI and PLC need to be compatible.
Right.
This means they need to be able to talk to each other. They do this on what's called a protocol. Different companies use different protocols.
There we go.
Company protocols are Modbus, Ethernet IP, and Profibus.
Who said that? What did Wired Dog say? He said Modbus, right? What's on the screen? Modbus. So that is definitely one of those industrial protocols that's spoken many times. And it's so interesting. Also, I'm going to get into that just right after this.
These are all just industrial networks, kind of like the network you may have in your home with multiple computers, TVs, or other devices connected to each other. Industrial protocols connect the different PLCs, HMIs, and other machines to each other. Protocol information is easily found on each manufacturer's website. Once the PLC and the HMI are talking, then whatever's programmed into the HMI can be used to monitor and control PLC functions. Let's review. Today, you've learned some of the basics of an HMI, or human-machine interface. These are the monitors and controls of a machine that allows the operator to run a machine or monitor a machine. Engineers can program an HMI to perform almost any function that can be controlled, or information that can be monitored by a PLC. HMIs and PLCs work together to monitor and control the machine. This means they have to be compatible, and they also have to speak the same language, so to speak.
Absolutely.
This comes
That's cool. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, real pars. And I want to show this actually. When you talk about like Modbus and in different types of industrial protocols, it's very interesting because I've done several different engagements where I would utilize Nmap in order to discover industrial devices within within industrial networks. So this is actually, as you see here, this is the tool called Nmap. And Nmap is a very popular red teaming and cybersecurity type of discovering tool that is already installed there within Kali Linux. And one thing that you can do is that you can utilize some scripts. There are some pre-configured scripts within Nmap, within the Nmap library, to help you discover devices talking Modbus. So somebody was asking port 509. Actually, it's 502. It's actually 502. Super close. Super close. And these are very like not very common ports, right? Ports. So one thing that this one does is that the Modbus discovery, and I know that I used this one before, is that by default the script Modbus discovery will attain first. See, and it has some antiquated language. So within PLC logic and just Modbus and a lot of these different type of industrial things, they have slave and master. So it's a slave device, and they also have master devices. Anyway, slave ID device information is shown next. The information displayed depend on the device's response. And this one, it found a device with the TCP port 502 open. It identified that as Modbus, and it gave some additional info. It gave that's a slave device. It's a slave data, right? And now it goes into how it works. The script enumerates Modbus devices in their slave IDs written by this person to improve the well-known ModScan. And this is another tool. ModScan is another tool that I've used before as well. And it helps to identify devices running Modbus. So say, for instance, you're doing a penetration test or you're trying to discover all your different devices within an OT environment or ICS environment. You can utilize Nmap in order to find some of these. Or if you're doing an offensive penetration test or something, you can find these devices and attack them. Or you can even find these devices, identify what they are, and then utilize some of that proprietary software in order to interact with those devices. So you see here that TCP port 502, it gives the slave ID. It tells what it is. It says that it's a power meter, and that device, it probably found this from like the MAC address or something. It's made by Schneider Electric, a Schneider Electric PM710. Let's see what that actually is. I just want to see what it is, because it's probably a physical device. Yep. And this is probably like an HMI. Isn't this an HMI? This is a PowerLogix. Let me find this. Is this a human machine interface? Did we just find a power meter? So no, this is just a power meter. So this just displays. I wonder, does it have HMI capability? It looks like it has like just like push button capability here. But this item has been used previously, so it's a used device. But this is what that script was discovering that was running in this environment. So that script had discovered that that device is running the Schneider Electric PM710 version 0 that was running. So anyway, thank you all for your time. I definitely appreciate you all coming. Hopefully this has been valuable to you. I kind of went over a little bit of my journey, and we kind of went a little bit deeper into what those weeds were there as it concerns cybersecurity, or what I was doing in my journey with ICS and OT cybersecurity. Want to hit a couple of more. Let's Defend is half off right now. Okay, I'm gonna sign up for an account. And I heard that you have to be very careful with using tools. Yeah, you do have to be very, very careful. And it's so funny because I need to put that up on my GitHub. I actually made scripts that are less aggressive, that things that I've used within industrial environments, things that because I've done pen tests on live environments. So things that I've used with pen testing. What was it? It was a plant environment where there were conveyor belts that were making license plates. I pen tested there. I pen tested within. Also, I pen tested like a nuclear plant environment too. So you very much so have to be careful when you're scanning in these environments with tools like Nmap. You don't just fire off Nmap and an IP address or Nmap to a sub network, but you have to time it. You have to adjust the timing. You have to adjust the amount of active scanning beacons that you put out to tools. I think, oh man, WireDog, please bring that up in the next chat, and I will give you several of my quiet scans that I've used during pen tests and red team engagements. But yes, that's Big Boy Jail. You don't just pen test that stuff. That is Big Boy Jail. You probably get Fed time. You probably get football numbers maybe. Sako Kage, appreciate you, Gabe, using the study guide for SC900. You are a king. Definitely appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming through, and come back for the next one too. WireDog says, thanks for sharing your journey and experience, and hopefully this has been valuable to you. It was kind of a little bit of an impromptu. I wanted to just kind of give a little bit of information about where I come from, the electrical engineering and the nuclear stuff, and jumping into ICS. And kind of my overall thing is one thing that has been very valuable in this journey, maybe I'll leave you all with this, is that once you start to find out what you want to do, I would say niche down as much as possible. All right. So I was focusing there on nuclear, but then I went into nuclear cybersecurity, and now I'm focusing in on just industrial cybersecurity as a whole. And I found a lot of value in that. I mean, even as it concerns what we've seen in the latest news, right? Industrial environments, electrical utility organizations, power plants, oil and gas environments. These are all places that are getting hacked. I'll show you one example, and then I'm going to be out of here. It's a website called Stride ICS Incidents. And this is a resource that I think that is very valuable in showing what are some of the latest oh no, let's see. Is it Stride? Is it called Stride? Stride. Is it Stride? Side. Anyway, I don't remember what that acronym is. But anyway, there are a lot of different industrial, like oil and gas and industrial environment hacks. And really niching down into that has really given me a lot of value in my career. I'm able to protect nuclear plants and oil and gas environments, utility organizations, upstream and downstream oil environments. Like, it's super duper cool where I'm doing physical assessments. I'm going on site. I'm doing pen tests from a virtual environment. I'm doing a lot of different engagements from right here at the crib. So, I think that that's what I would give you, is that if you're looking at going into cloud, right, that's a biggie. Even if you're looking at going into artificial intelligence, that's another big one too, in prompt engineering. Niche down, focus in, and really drill down into your knowledge and understanding. Hopefully my experience has been valuable to you. It's giving you some motivation to go forward. And again, it's a struggle security where we are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. Come back again. I answer questions. We talk, we chat. People was clowning me for some of my older pictures and everything. And I'm happy to put all this content out there for y'all. So I'll see you all on the next live stream. It might be sometime this week. It might be sometime next week. I bet it's going to be probably tomorrow. We'll see about it. But come back, and before you leave, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell before you leave. And again, struggle security. We are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity, and hopefully I have alleviated one of your struggles here. All right. I'll see you all later.